Hello, my name is Matthew Chilelli. I'm the editor for John August and Craig Mazin's Scriptnotes podcast, and I also occasionally write outros for that podcast as well, based on John August's 5-note theme. What I wanted to do is make just a quick, hopefully a quick video that discusses theme and variation, specifically writing an outro for Scriptnotes. So hopefully you are a fan of Scriptnotes, hopefully you listen to Scriptnotes, and hopefully you're thinking about writing an outro for the show if you haven't already. The theme actually is very simple. I'll just play it for you right now. So if you listen to the show, you know that very well. It pops up right at the beginning of everything, and it's simple, and that's actually the best gift that John August has given you. It's a simple theme to make a variation of. And the notes are C, E, D, B, C. And on the piano it sounds like this. Very simple. 5 notes, all quarter notes. And again, that's actually kind of a blessing. You might hear that and think, oh, I can only do so many things with that. Not true. You can do all kinds of things with that. It's the more complicated themes where you run into problems, where you become beholden to the rhythm of it or the very specific intervals. In this case, you can do all kinds of things. You could make that minor if you wanted to, and turn it around on itself. You could play it in a different rhythm. You could play it in a different time signature. I wrote one that was in 5/4. So you can have some fun with it. In this case, I wrote a simple little track in the style of what's kind of the unofficial theme for the cartoon Peanuts. This is Linus and Lucy's theme, and this is by Vince Guaraldi, the Vince Guaraldi Trio. Hopefully that's something you're already familiar with. If it isn't, listen to it. It's a great track. Again, it's simple, it's jazzy, it's a lot of fun, and most importantly, it's a style that really anyone could do. And it's one of the reasons why I made this video about this, because we only have 2 instruments in this, and it's piano and drums. And I kind of want this to be something that you listen to and think to yourself, well, geez, I could do that. Because you can. If you have GarageBand, you have a piano patch and you have a drum patch. You know, if you have Finale, you have those 2 things. If you have any kind of software that allows you to key in music via MIDI, you can do this. So let's take a quick listen to what I wrote in that style. Okay, so I wanted to talk about a few things here. The first is going to be really just sort of parsing out the style of something you want to emulate. In this case, I wanted to emulate this Peanuts theme, and it does have a very specific style. It's got that sort of driving but shuffling sound in the drums. In this case, I'm playing it on a hi-hat and sort of a light stick. And it's got kind of a brush feel, you know, it's got that jazzy feel, so I needed to make sure that those sounds were similar. And this is all about being similar. It's not about copying something exactly. It's about writing something where you listen to it back and you understand what it's supposed to sound like. You know, I could have gone into this bass line here, and instead of writing I could have literally written the bass line from the Peanuts song, which sounds like this. But the problem I run into is if I want to put that in C, I end up with it down here. or up here, which isn't that great. So I decided to write something that sounded like it, and hopefully you hear this little riff, and the first thing that pops into your head is the beginning of that song. And one of the reasons why I personally think that works is because I'm using the same rhythm. I'm not using the same notes, but it's the same rhythm from that. Now, one thing that I did here was I do like to separate out my left and right hand for the piano, partly because I am not a piano player. I don't play it very well. I play it well enough to key things in, but this helps me think of them as separate instruments. This helps me think of, obviously the left hand is the bass and the right hand is the melody, and up here in the melody we have the actual variation of the Scriptnotes theme that's happening here. So the Scriptnotes theme, obviously, again, and what I did here was but up the octave even more, and with a little bit of harmony, which sounds like this. So that's really sort of the first thing that I did want to talk about with this, is parsing out the elements of this style. You know, we've got a very stripped down style. We've got something that sounds a little jazzy. This is not swung. This is straight eighths, but it does have a little kind of edge to it, which is fun. The next thing that I would actually like to talk about is having a little bit of fun with the Scriptnotes theme. Now, one thing that I did here was, if you're familiar with the song, you know that it has kind of a break section in it. So we have that to add variety to it, and that's one thing that you really kind of want in your outros. You don't want it to be the same thing, either growing louder and louder and louder. You want it to have some variety. You want it to have kind of moments, and this is one of those moments. And the original track, you know, it's 4 beats, and it's just da 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 da. Very simple. In this, I wanted to have a little more fun with it. I wanted to sort of hide the Scriptnotes theme in there a little bit. Now, obviously, again, the Scriptnotes theme, when you turn it around, sounds like, and by turn it around, just so you know, I mean like that. So that's 5 notes, and I wanted to figure out how to get that down to 4, and also have it end on a good note. So if I just play through that melody and I end on the 4th note instead of the 5th note, it sounds like this. And that doesn't sound so great to me. That's ending on the 7th, which really is just sort of begging for some resolution. It doesn't have the fun of what in the original track would sound kind of like this, right? Instead, we end up with, just gross, right? So I thought, what would happen if I started that on a different note? And so what I ended up going with was starting it on the 4th note, which is that B. So we end up, instead of going C, E, D, B, we end up now going B, C, E, D, which sounds like this. Right? Or right here. Right? And there's the theme. Right? And then after that, there's a little bit of ornamentation. It turns around again and kind of runs down to the bottom. And what's happening up there is the Scriptnotes theme again, starting on C. So there it is, C, E, D, B, C, with a little bit of glissando right there. Right? But when you play it in time, it sounds like... Now, I don't know if anyone actually picks that up when they listen to this, but I know it's in there, and kind of makes it a little more fun for me. And then, of course, I end a little louder and a little more triumphant than we started. We started here, and we end here. So you can hear how that sounds, you know, a little more like, hey, we're finishing. And then, of course, at the very end, we've got this bit. And that's kind of the last thing that I want to talk about here. We've already mentioned sort of picking apart the elements of what you want to emulate if you're emulating something. I talked a little bit about having some fun with the Scriptnotes theme within your composition, and sort of the last thing that I really want to touch upon here is the structure of it. It's very tempting to find a groove or find kind of a clever way of presenting the Scriptnotes theme and just sort of doing that over and over and over and over again until you've hit the end. But in reality, you don't have much time here. Most outros are around 30 seconds long. You can see that this one is almost exactly 30 seconds long. And that's sort of the magic number. I can tell you that as the editor of these podcasts, if your outro is longer than 30 seconds by a lot, if it's a minute long, we've had at least one that was over 3 minutes long. Odds are, if that's the case, I'm probably going to edit it into a 30-second version. So be aware of that. The best thing you can do to make sure that people hear exactly what you want them to hear is to write it 30 seconds long to begin with. And that really sort of brings us to the structure. So, 30 seconds is what you're aiming for. Keep in mind that the first 10 seconds of that, the first third of that track, is really going to kind of be buried under John and Craig saying goodbye to each other and wrapping up the podcast. So if the beginning of it is the only place where you have your Scriptnotes theme, odds are we as listeners aren't going to hear it. And, it's an outro. It's not really going to be the end of the world, but you kind of want to let people know, that you were clever with the theme. And the best way to do that is, sure, do it at the beginning because it will show up on the site, but also make sure that, and that's one of the reasons why I did it here, at the end of it, it gets louder. And we play through it again. And then we end with... If you haven't heard the Scriptnotes theme buried in there already, you should definitely hear it there. And that's certainly something that I've tried to do. It's something that, the outros that are done by other people that I really like, that's what they do too. So keep in mind, the first 10 seconds, it's going to be a lot quieter. You don't have to make it quieter. I will do that as the editor. But keep in mind that we're not going to be hearing that too much. So let that be sort of your build-up. Let that be the first iteration of the theme, if you will, and then end. Have your big finish with it. So that's about it. Again, I wrote this with a piano patch. I wrote it with a drum patch. If you were interested in what they were specifically, the piano patch is a really nice piano patch from Cinesamples called Piano in Blue. It's got that nice sort of jazzy sound to it, but it can also be really tender. It's very versatile. And the drum patch is also from Cinesamples. It's a Cineperc drum patch. Those are both kind of expensive patches. You don't need to do that. The first few outros that I did in GarageBand, and I did it with things that hardly cost anything at all. And that's really what I want to sort of drive home here at the end, is that, look at this track. It's piano and drums. It's nearly the simplest thing in the world, and you can still have fun with it. You can still have a lot of fun with it. In fact, I've found that artistically, it's when you actually have limitations that you end up being particularly creative with it. So if all you have is GarageBand, have fun with that limitation. Have fun playing inside that box if you want. And yeah, I might do another one of these videos in the future that covers something a little more complex. But for now, I just wanted to sort of let you know how I go about composing these things, because it's not that difficult. I hope you found this video interesting, educational a little bit, and most of all, I hope this inspires you to write your own outro, or to just write your own song. I think as writers, as screenwriters, you might find that that writing music is actually rather similar to writing a screenplay. There can be a lot of emotion behind it, and there's certainly a lot of structure behind it too. So it's a similar good marriage of those two things. And I look forward to hearing your outro. as well. All right, that does it for me. Keep sending in those outros, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.